Demeco Ryans has shown a lot of support for rookie tackle Airontae Ersery. Houston feels like he is their best chance at improving their offensive line. It seems like he'll be a part of the final five. And we get an opportunity to hear from the McNair family. They inducted Mrs. Janice McNair to the Ring of Honor for the Houston Texans franchise. But what are they doing to enhance the fan experience at the NRG Stadium?
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Battle Red Nation, from H-Town to your town. Today's episode and every episode of the Locked On Texans podcast is for Texan fans all around. I'm your credential media member and Texans football analyst, John Hickman. Excited to talk Texans with you guys today on this mini edition of the Locked On Texans podcast. To all of our everydayers from the Himalayas coming back each and every episode to check out the pod, I really appreciate it. If this is your first time watching today's show and the Locked On Texans podcast altogether, welcome. You are now a part of the family, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. This episode is just an episode, and I'll be doing these throughout the training camp period where I take small takeaways. I bring small takeaways that may be small when it was said, or maybe small when it happened, but look at the importance of it. And there's no better way to kick off these small mini editions of the Locked On Texans podcast than to look at the support head coach Demeco Ryans has been given rookie tackle Airontae Ersery. Listen to what Demeco Ryans had to say in support of the rookie Airontae Ersery.
What I've seen from Tay, we moved him from right to left, trying to see how much he can handle, and I continue to see growth from him. I think he's done a really good job of being able to have a seamless transition of going back left to right. He does a really good job of playing with great balance, great footwork, and that allows him to be in good position. He has really long arms. It's just a matter of him trying to get as many reps as possible so the game can slow down. But from a physical standpoint, he has the tools and what it takes to be a tackle in this league.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
I love to hear that from Demeco Ryans. Listen, towards the end of last season, the frustration was real from with Demeco Ryans from his offensive line. And you can look at everything that went wrong last year. Communication errors consistently being the reason why the quarterback was the most pressured quarterback in the NFL, third in the NFL in terms of sacks. You can look at how the offense just operated all together. But one thing that Demeco Ryans really emphasized was a culture change and shift in how the offensive line went about themselves, right? Wanted to be more nastier and meaner. And Friday was the first time that I had an opportunity to see Airontae Ersery up close and personal. That's a big dude, man. And the thing about Tay, as Demeco Ryans, whatever you got a nickname from your head coach, you're in the right direction, right? But the thing about Tay, Airontae Ersery, is he's still a young man. He's still a young man. He's going to grow into his already massive body, right? And his massive body will transform into a more NFL body. But he's 23 years old, 330, 6'6", cleats on, 6'7". He's a big dude, right? And when he was drafted, he was envisioned to be this team's tackle. A lot of us, including myself, figured, hey, listen, the plan should be Cam Robinson, who they're going to pay $11 million. He can make up to $14 million. We'll lock down left tackle. Blake Fisher coming into his second year, and credit to Blake Fisher, he's done a good job of refining his body, having more of an NFL body. Trent Brown was signed in the offseason. Those two should have a good competition at right tackle. But if I'm being honest, guys, like Trent Brown has been out there. He's not on any list. So at some point, I'm sure we'll see him, hopefully, because he needs training camp and he needs preseason. But if I'm going based on the options that have been out on the field, the best option has been Tay, straight up. I mean, and you look at, let me run this Demeco Ryans back one more time so you can really hear and get a gist of what Demeco said.
What I've seen from Tay, we moved him from right to left, trying to see how much he can handle, and I continue to see growth from him. I think he's done a really good job of being able to have a seamless transition of going back left to right. He does a really good job of playing with great balance, great footwork, and that allows him to be in good position. He has really long arms. It's just a matter of him trying to get as many reps as possible so the game can slow down. But from a physical standpoint, he has the tools and what it takes to be a tackle in this league.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, appreciate it.
Physical standpoint, he mentioned the footwork, great balance, and also mentioned just the seamless transition. And credit to the Houston Texans coaching staff, not jerking him around. Go and get over there at right tackle. Now, he has taken snaps at left tackle, but we're going to put you out at right tackle. We're going to put you out at right tackle with the ones, and we're going to give you the reps. And then I think that is what I love the most, getting a young man the reps on the offensive line that question marks are there, question marks are real. And what I also love is he's getting those reps on the side of the line that has this team's, I'm going to call him the best offensive lineman on this team right now in Tytus Howard. But not only that, this team's leader. Tytus Howard is the guy he returned, and Tunsil is no longer in the room. You got to look at Tytus Howard's induction into the NFL. Came into the NFL, he's played every position across that offensive line but center. Had Laremy Tunsil as his leader for years, right? And obviously a reason why they wanted to move on from Laremy Tunsil. Of course, they wanted to get ahead of that curve of him wanting a new contract. Houston wasn't comfortable paying him a new contract. He was the highest paid offensive lineman or one of, and it didn't matter to the offensive line output. They were still a bad unit all around. But I think leadership played a role into that. And so for Tytus Howard, this is going to be his first year without having Laremy Tunsil. And you can see the difference in Tytus as a leader. I think, again, I gave him a lot of praise. He did a very good job of refining his body. He's much bigger than, where he was last season. He's very jacked up top. And he's on that right side with Tay. And I think that a good thing of having Aireontae on that side of the line is he's seen it all. Tytus has seen it all. He's seen the Myles Garrett and T.J. Watson. He's locked them down. He's had moments where he's locked down premier pass rushers outside. He's seen the moves. He also understands what it takes to be just overall better in terms of communication and why that shouldn't be an issue this year. You got a vet right next to you, a vet that I'm sure got tired of getting his butt whooped, being embarrassed in the media. Tytus took it personal, and I'm looking at Tytus and I'm saying, how will Tytus taking it personal this year impact everybody else? And I think it's going to directly impact the rookie Airontae Ersery when he's out on that field. Honest to God. I love his footwork. Again, he's a massive kid. He's only going to continue to grow in terms of mentally and physically. He's going to get into more game shape as he continues to get those reps. And what I like about Airontae is he has a great kick step. Hand placement can be a little bit inconsistent, but again, you got Tytus Howard right next to you. You also got a coach in Cole Popovich who had them boys out there doing push-ups when they got whooped. That's a great thing. You don't want to do these push-ups again and again. Get better at your rep. Then he's also staying after practice to work with guys like Will Anderson Jr., premier pass rusher in the NFL, Danielle Hunter. He's on the course to 100 sacks, premier pass rusher in the NFL in his career. Taking in those notes, mental notes, physical notes, game notes. He's only going to get better. And right now, the fact is he's the best option for Houston at right tackle. Granted, they're going up against teammates. Granted, we got to get to preseason. Preseason in 2 weeks. Then they got joint practices. During those joint practices time, one of those joint practices will be against Detroit. And I'm hoping to see some good reps between Aiden Hutchinson and the rookie. And Cam Robinson, for that matter. I mean, because, He ain't a for sure thing. But Ursery seems to be a player that will have a more encouraging response to adversity than what we've seen from some of the younger offensive linemen dating back to 2022. And let's look at that list. Kenyon Green, he's in Philly right now. And I just saw on it was on social media, so I wasn't there physically, of course, but I just saw on social media that Kenyon Green may not make the team in Philly. And Philly has been heralded as the offensive line. You know, you go up there, you get offensive line right. If you've been struggling, go to Philly, they get you right. Juice Scruggs, Jared Patterson, Blake Fisher. Question mark. Jared Patterson has been taking first team reps at center. I like this kid. And more so, I think he's with a good bunch. He's not coming in dealing with an up and down coaching staff in his room. Cole Popovich is the guy. His voice is the voice. They are moving as a unit. So you look at, there's not going to be a lot of confusion out there. Knowing your assignment. Physically, he's gifted. Mentally, he'll grow and continue to be better in that aspect. But I like him, and I like him at right tackle for Houston as of right now, because when I look at the final five, it isn't about who's the best five at the position that they played. It's about who's the best five. Though we may have expected for him, as talented as he is, to be the left tackle for the future, we don't know what 2026 and beyond will look like. But for right now, I don't think you can say he's not the best, one of the best five to be out on that field. When we come back to McNairs speak, how have they been creating game day enhancements for the fans as all of the speculation continues to loom over their future with the NRG? What does that look like? They still have a home. And as of right now, it'll be a home for you guys. But right now, Texan fans, let's dive into the fact that I know it's football season, right? Y'all gonna want to get out to them games, but it's also the time of the year where, fellas, before we dive into these fantasy drafts and before we can just go out to the bar or go kick it with the buddies to go watch football, we got to make sure we take care of home. Got to get our women out, right? You got to get your spouse out the house. And a good way to do that is take them to a concert to see an artist that they love. We've all been there before, logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to you lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Music should be about making memories. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticketing shopping. And that's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices drop as you get closer to showtime. You can save up to 60% with their killer last-minute deals. You're worried about what happens if plans change? The Gametime guarantee has your back with the cancellation protection plan and more. With Gametime, the price you see is the price you pay, no hidden fees. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. On Saturday, we had an opportunity to speak with the McNairs. And on the Sunday episode, I played a clip of the McNairs addressing, what they want to see from their offensive line unit. However, I had an opportunity, and I've been seeing this everywhere, so I'm glad I had an opportunity to ask this question just on the enhancements that the McNairs are planning or have already accomplished at the NRG. We know that there's been a lot of speculation on whether or not the Houston Texans will stay at the NRG. However, the one thing that I give a lot of credit to the McNairs for, since Cal and Hannah have become bigger in their roles and have taken over, they put the fans first as much as possible. And the approach is, if we're here, then the team is here, then the fans will be here. Let's make sure that the fans are happy. So listen to what they had to say.
Great question. So what have we done this offseason, Cal? Well, we're in process of putting in a new roof. We have a sound system, a much improved sound system.
It's amazing. We listened to it yesterday. It's going to be awesome. Minnesota has nothing on us now.
Gotten brand new video boards and some other things, but those are the main things.
What's the stadium?
So they're doing what they need to do to make sure that the game day experience is where it needs to be. Shout out to Miss Hannah McNair. Minnesota ain't got nothing on us. Yeah, they're a little bit cold up there, and they have a quarterback that ain't CJ Stroud. They struggling, but back to the stadium. Why do you want to hear that? Well, you want to hear that because you don't want to go to pay all your money, and tickets can be expensive. Take your family to a game, and you walk out feeling like, bro, I could have watched this at home. You don't want that. So hearing that this, fixing the roof, adding the things that they're adding to the stadium, I think is very important because, listen, number one, we don't know what the future looks like for Houston and the NRG. We don't. I'm not even going to get into any speculation. We don't know. But the reality is this is probably the hottest time this team has – like if I can look at the franchise history, of course, the first couple of years, that was a hot time for the franchise. And at that time, the location was a much better location. Okay, fast forward, Gary Kubiak years, the 1 year where they go 12-4, and if Matt Schaub doesn't get hurt, maybe it's a different outcome at the end. But that's a hot time. The 2-year window that Deshaun Watson had, that was a hot time. But of those 3 hot times, we know that the David Carr years, this team wasn't going to make a deep run. They wasn't going to no Super Bowl, right? We know that. It was just a hot time because the city got football back. Gary Kubiak, Matt Schaub years, the 12-4 year, that felt real, but essentially talking to real football fans, it always came back down to the belief in who was playing quarterback. Okay. Now, we fast forward to Deshaun's era. The belief in the quarterback was there, but compared to the Deshaun era, we look at the Gary Kubiak era, the belief in the head coach wasn't there. So things are not matching up, right? You get to this era, the belief in your quarterback is there. He wins Rookie of the Year. He has a quote-unquote sophomore slump, but still help lead the team to a playoff. The belief in the head coach is there. And within 2025, 2026, 2027, I think Nick Caley will operate with a 3-year window. There has to be growing belief that Nick Caley cannot be as worse as Bobby Slowik. It can only go up. So I say all of that to say the Texans are operating in an era of football, Texans football, where everything can come together perfectly in the line. They're not going to host a Super Bowl here, so I'm not looking at that. But you are looking at if this team can get to a place between the next 3 seasons where they are a number 1 seed in the NFL or the AFC, and they get home field advantage throughout the playoffs, you got to think about, okay, we may still have to be here. What does that look like for our fan base, who, by the way, stuck with us when we had to hire David Culley, Lovie Smith, and they were playing Mind of a Maniac on Saturday. The Lovie Smith years, they'll probably be playing Mind, Body, and Soul collection. That's right. If you want to order your Mind, Body, and Soul 1-on-1 collection, call this number now. Different franchise. The energy is different, and they have to keep up with the times. So credit to the McNairs for doing that, man. And I think what I love the most about Cal and Hannah, and Hannah is a ball of energy. Cal is really all about the people. He's all about the fans. You guys will see him flipping burgers at some point soon, and he'll get on Reddit. They are a unit together that cares about this fan base. Thank you for listening to this episode, this era, this edition of the Locked On Texans podcast, this mini edition. Please subscribe, like, and comment on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow me on Twitter at John_Hickman12. Until next time, ladies and gents, Texan fans across the nation, peace.